Now, at the end of last week's video, I said that I was going to work on this neglected corner of the garden, and it really is a neglected corner. And the reason it's neglected is because I absolutely hate taking this cover off. And it's gotten very, very overgrown, and it is just full of perennial brassicas, which I've completely neglected, and they are now gone to seed as well. So this is something that we're going to tackle and improve this area and its productivity. I'm not sure that I've got everything right that's in here. I think this is a Taunton Dean kale. This is sticky bud cleavers. That's the thing that we struggle with the most on the farm. I think that's a weed. I don't know what it's a weed of, but I think it's a weed. Just put a bit of water in this little bucket, and what I'm going to do is clip off some end shoots on this Taunton Dean, and I can make that into cuttings. Oops. And hopefully I can root some new plants from it. I'm not certain exactly which bits I need, so for now I'm just going to cut quite a few bits off and then have a look afterwards. I think it's these little bits, like a tomato side shoot almost. So now it's cleared away, this is what we're building, a mini polytunnel. And this mini polytunnel is going to sit on here, and this is where my peppers are going to go. A little test try now, see if it opens before we put the other hinges on. Royal we, of course. Oh, look at that. Well, it's taken us a few hours and it is decidedly cooler than when we first started, but here is the finished polytunnel. Look at it. Absolutely thrilled to have this. It should be 10 foot long, but we have cut it down to 8 foot because I wanted it to fill the same space as the greenhouses. But I'm pretty certain that I'm going to get all of my peppers in here. All I need to do is top up the compost a little bit. I'm not topping it all the way to the top, but just give it a fresh layer of compost, put a bit of feed in there and get planting. I've got 12 peppers here in various stages of quite embarrassing neglect, to be honest. They needed to be potted on, but I simply didn't have any more height underneath my lights for the bigger pots. So they have been languishing a little bit until this project could get done, and obviously until we were over the risk of our last frosts. Forecast is looking really, really good for the next few days, and in fact it's not looking too hot in the day either, which is quite good. I don't want them to be shocked by the heat as well as the cold overnight. So I'm just going to place these out have to climb in, unfortunately. And make sure to leave myself space to get into them. And I'm just going to get them in the ground for today, and then I'm going to work out how I'm going to support them. Oh dear. I think the biggest lesson I've learned again is do not sow them so early, because they've just been ready to move on before the weather's been ready for them to move on. And hopefully in the next few weeks they'll start to really pick up and look nice and green and healthy again. I better get them watered. We're on to the next day now, and Duncan's misery is still not over because I'm armed with some more wood. There's another project coming, and what I'm planning on doing is using this little bed here to build a Brassica cage. Now obviously it's not going to be a very big Brassica cage, so this is just for the taller things like the Brussels sprouts. And we're going to build a little wooden box, screw it to the frame here. We're going to have to build an actual door as well and fit that to it. I'm just going to staple some black mesh to it. Now I'm thinking I'm going to have it around that height there. So it'll be a little bit taller than the straight part of the greenhouse, but that should give plenty of height. So I'll measure and get them cut. So I've cut all of the pieces now. These are the 4 length pieces, 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom. I've got 6 pieces here that are upright, 4 pieces for the corners and 2 for the door posts. And then I have the 2 end pieces for the bottom and the top, the roof. So now it's a bit like a jigsaw, and we're just going to try and put it together. This is where I need Duncan, because drilling and screwing is not my strong point. Right, so as you can see, what we're doing is I'm standing here holding the doors. We will centre them up shortly, but we're going to screw the door frames in now we've made the doors, so that we know the doors will fit the frame. Now I don't know how long this mesh will last, but I love it because you can barely see it. It's so fine. Obviously that also means I don't know how strong it is either. So we shall just have to see, and if it pulls through very quickly, then I will replace it for debris netting, but I'll use the black again. None of this stuff is designed to be stapled at the end of the day, is it? But I am just trying to hem over the edge a bit, see if it'll last a bit longer. I couldn't be more thrilled with how it's turned out. It was probably a fairly big project for something so small, but I've nicknamed it the Sprout House, which means I really need to get some sprouts out, don't I? I have a couple of Brody here and some Ruby Crunch, which are some red sprouts, and I'm going to put them in their new home. I really needed the double doors because I needed the room to get in to look at them. Let's get them in the ground. Now I've already put quite a bit of fertiliser in here, so I'm not putting any more in today. Still finding little bits of potato in here. Well, this is a sorry sight. The telehandler has some major repair works needed. Seriously broken down, and it is off for repair. Duncan's going to be without it for a week or two. How will he cope? This is what happens when you have no telehandler. This is how we used to do it. I'm really thrilled with how this project has turned out. It has exceeded all expectations. It's a massive upgrade to this back end of the garden, and it just looks so much neater, especially now I've caught up with the strimming and the mowing close by. I don't like Duncan getting too close to the greenhouses with the sit-on mower. But whilst we're over here, there's been some new additions to the greenhouse as well, so I thought I'd give you a little look inside there too. Just walking straight inside this greenhouse, you can probably see what the new additions are. I have two dwarf patio fruit trees in here. It's one of the reasons why I can't fit many peppers in here. On this side is Crimson Bonfire peach tree. Now my sister had this peach tree and I absolutely loved it, and this was beautiful when it was in blossom a couple of weeks ago, and I'll insert a bit of footage of that now. But I've added to it a apricot as well. This one is called Aprigold and it has come into life now. So hopefully in a few years' time I'll be able to grow my own peaches and apricots, because they are going to live in here permanently. I've also planted up the in-ground beds in here. I have some rather sick looking Cape gooseberries on the right, and they are my chilies on the left. In the back of the greenhouse here we mainly just have some flowers, mostly zinnias it has to be said. All of these zinnias here need to find a home shortly. In the pots outside, these are my overwintering dahlias that have luckily come back. So I've popped the pots back outside the greenhouses. This other greenhouse is absolutely ram-packed full still. This is really the central hub to the entire vegetable garden. I have now brought my tomato seedlings outside. They are not looking very happy. They've been potted on. There's quite a few with shriveled up leaves on here, but they were looking like that in the house. Again, these were very pot bound and desperate to get themselves outside. And in the next week or so, probably next week actually, I'll be clearing out the polytunnel and I'll be getting these planted out in there. I've got lots of flowers in here as well, and most of these need to get out into the garden next week. There's lots of sunflowers in here. Not that I need any more calendula because the garden is full of self-seeded calendula, but this one is Snow Princess. Now these are a few trays of cornflowers. This front tray here are Grandad's cornflowers, that's how I've labelled them. They were given to me by Sarah from Sundays in the Garden. And then the ones at the back are the black ball ones. And I've got some melons coming up. Sugar Baby, and that one's an Arava melon at the back. And then if we move over here, these are all of the cucumbers and other squashes that you saw me sowing last week that have just started to germinate. But arguably for me, the most exciting thing in the garden are these plants here, and that's saying something because if you've watched the channel for long enough, you'll know that I don't actually like tomatoes. And these are dwarf tomato plants. This variety is called House. I had these seeds from Adi at Adi's Veg Garden, and as you can see, there's lots and lots of fruit on here. Really, really exciting to see that. And then the other one I have here is this one called Aztec Yellow, which is a far more mature plant than the other one. But the really exciting thing is there's lots of tomatoes on here to harvest. Now they're actually quite hard to see because they're buried in the middle of the plant. But, oh, these have already dropped off, look. Look at that. First ripe tomatoes of the season. If I go a little bit further back, I should be able to pull another one off. And this one here. Look at that. Wow. Now these aren't the first ripe ones that we've actually had off here. Duncan picked his first ones on the 29th of April. So we already had ripe, fresh tomatoes at the end of April this year. Definitely going to be growing more of these again. All in all, I think you'll agree it's been a very productive week on the vegetable garden in this area of the garden that you don't always see. If you like what you've seen in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and do leave me a comment. I like building the community in the chat. But that's it for now. I'll catch you in the next video. Look after yourselves. Bye.